People in Kashmir, which is controlled by India, are casting their ballots as the fourth phase of India's parliamentary election begins. Voting is being held in the region for the first time since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government stripped Kashmir of its semi-autonomous status. The decision to bring the Muslim-majority region under direct rule was deeply unpopular among residents, and some are choosing to boycott the vote.
At this election rally, feverish excitement defines the mood. Because of him, Wahid Para is contesting elections in Srinagar city. He is a member of People's Democratic Party, one of the main regional parties in Jammu and Kashmir. His party is advocating for self-rule instead of autonomy. Nearly 10 years ago, it was even allied with the ruling BJP of Prime Minister Modi. It's the final days of campaigning, and Wahid Para is canvassing in the town of Pulwama, once a separatist stronghold.
We are trying to heal people. We're all traumatic in many ways. Every one of us has lost something, personally, politically, socially, emotionally, but there's definitely a sense of loss in all of us.
For decades, Kashmir has seen protracted conflict, insurgency and state repression. Thousands of people have been killed, many more injured or arrested. Because of its violent history, the people of Kashmir have mostly boycotted general elections. But at this rally, Para is urging them to cast their vote.
For us, this election is about giving voice to the people of Kashmir. There's a complete cycle of suffocation in Jammu and Kashmir from last 5-6 years. There's thought policing, people are not speaking, media is not talking, and people are feeling completely silenced.
In 2020, Para was himself arrested for allegedly supporting an Islamist terror organization. He has denied all the charges. Currently on bail, he now seeks to represent Kashmir in India's parliament. But in downtown Srinagar, once at the heart of the separatist movement, there is still resistance to participation. This young man, who we shall call Imad, agreed to speak to us on the condition of anonymity. In 2016, he took part in protests against Indian rule. Imad was hit by pellets fired by security forces. He lost sight in one eye and was partially blinded in the other. For him, to vote in Indian elections would be to legitimize Indian rule.
These elections do not hold any meaning for us. Previously, Kashmiris participated in elections, but they were betrayed. The regime of torture continued for us. For me, voting in this election means selling my soul.
At the BJP's headquarters in Srinagar, the party spokesman tells a different story. He maintains things have only changed for the better since Kashmir's autonomy was revoked.
In Kashmir, after 2019, there have been no shutdowns, which is the change you will see here. In 2023, more than 25 million tourists visited the valley, which is another significant change. Tourists only go to places where there is peace.
Despite his claims, the party has not fielded a single candidate in Kashmir in this year's election. Back in Pulwama, Wahid Para is rallying the people to vote. His message, winning a seat in parliament, could give back a voice to those Kashmiris who have felt disempowered since India's sole Muslim majority region lost its autonomy.
Well, joining us now from Srinagar in Kashmir is our correspondent Shalu Yadav. Shalu, how are voters there responding to this election? What have people been telling you?
Well, voting is underway amid heavy security forces presence here, which is not extraordinary given that Kashmir is one of the most militarized regions in the world. But what's extraordinary, Gerhard, is the fact that this is the first major election since 2019 when the BJP government took away the region's partial autonomy and brought it directly under its rule. Now, voting in Kashmir doesn't really see a huge amount of turnout because of, separatist calls for boycott. But this time around, there's no boycott, and people have been telling us that they want to come out in numbers and, vote because they want to send a message to the Modi government in Delhi that what happened in 2019 was pretty much against their will. And interestingly, the first-time voters here are not just people who have just turned 18 and are coming out to exercise their voting right for the first time, but also people who are 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, because, they've never participated in the democratic exercise of voting in the world's largest democracy. And they say that through their vote, they want to send a message to the government in Delhi. So there is hope amongst people as far as the voting exercise is concerned. But there's also a climate of fear. Gerhard, we have to remember that hundreds of people who were arrested back in 2019 after there was a massive crackdown by Indian security forces here, they still remain in jail. There were locals, there were separatists, there were political activists amongst them. And people say that if they speak out on camera, they fear that they could meet the same fate. So there is fear amongst them, and they say that voting is their only way to express what they want to say.
What you said earlier, is that the reason that people want to send a message to the government that Narendra Modi's BJP party has not fielded a single candidate in Kashmir?
Well, that is a million-dollar question, Gerhard, because BJP party has traditionally fielded its candidates in the region since the mid-90s. But this is the first time since then that they've decided not to do so. Instead, they say that we've taken a strategic call to support local regional parties. Now, despite its narrative of development, of peace and of normalcy in Kashmir, which it says has been appreciated by the locals here, we don't see that to be the case on the ground. The opposition parties here are telling us that there's a big gap between what the BJP claims and what the reality is on the ground. But analysts say that this could be an acknowledgement by the BJP of the fact that, there's a lot of anger amongst Kashmiri for its 2019 decision, and a realization that, its chances of getting a mandate here in this environment are next to nil. So while you see the BJP, exuding huge amount of confidence on a national level as it's on course to win a third term, but here in Kashmir, the dynamics are very different.
DW's Shalu Yadav there in Kashmir. Thank you very much.